What if the liberation of Palestine is only possible through a caliphate? This question sets the stage for our discussion today. For those who might not be familiar, a caliphate is a form of Islamic government led by a caliph, a political and religious leader who is a successor to the Islamic prophet, Muhammad. Its historical significance lies in its role as a unifying force in the Muslim world. As we delve into this topic, we invite you to approach it with an open mind. To understand the connection between Palestine's liberation and the Caliphate, we must first look at the historical context. Palestine, a land nestled in the heart of the Middle East, has been a significant site for Muslims since the early days of Islam. The region's historical and religious significance is immense, with Jerusalem, its capital, being the first Qibla for Muslims and the third holiest site in Islam. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, the Dome of the Rock, and the historic city itself are all integral parts of the Islamic faith and history. But to fully grasp the importance of Palestine to the Muslim world, we must take a step back and delve into the history of the Caliphate. The Caliphate, an Islamic form of governance, began after the demise of Prophet Muhammad, when the Muslim community elected a leader or caliph. The caliph was not just a political leader, but a spiritual one, guiding the Muslim community in all aspects of life based on Islamic principles. Over the centuries, there have been various caliphates, each leaving its mark on the Muslim world. The Umayyad Caliphate, the Abbasid Caliphate, and the Ottoman Caliphate are all key periods when the Caliphate had a profound impact on Palestine. For instance, under the Umayyad Caliphate, the Dome of the Rock was built, and under the Ottomans, Jerusalem experienced a period of stability and prosperity. These periods underscore the significant role the Caliphate played in the development and protection of Palestine. The Caliphate, therefore, is not just a political system, but a symbol of unity and strength for Muslims. It represents a time when Muslim lands were governed by Islamic principles and when the Muslim world stood united, protecting its people and its holy sites. With this historical context in mind, we can now explore the argument for the Caliphate's role in Palestine's liberation. So, why do some argue that the liberation of Palestine is only possible through a caliphate? To answer this question, it's important to delve into the various arguments that have been made in support of this view. Firstly, proponents of this argument often allude to a need for a unified Islamic governance structure. They believe that the establishment of a caliphate, a state led by a single leader known as a caliph, could unite the Muslim world under a single banner. This unity, they argue, is what is needed to drive forward the cause of Palestine's liberation. Secondly, proponents often point to the historical successes of the Caliphate. During its height, the Caliphate was a beacon of intellectual and cultural richness, with advancements in various fields like science, philosophy, and arts. The argument here is that this historical success could be replicated, and that a revitalized caliphate could leverage its influence to advocate for Palestine's cause. Lastly, there's the idea that a caliphate could provide a counterbalance to other global powers. In a world dominated by superpowers with varying interests and alliances, proponents argue that a unified Islamic state could serve as a significant geopolitical player. This, they believe, could shift the balance of power and bring about a more equitable resolution to the Palestinian issue. However, it's crucial to understand that these arguments are not universally accepted. Critics argue that the caliphate model is outdated and that it may not be viable in today's complex global landscape. They also express concerns about potential issues related to governance, human rights, and diversity within a caliphate. Despite these criticisms, the arguments for the role of the caliphate in Palestine's liberation continue to hold sway for many. They provide a lens through which to view the issue, challenging us to consider different perspectives and possibilities. These arguments, while certainly not universally accepted, provide food for thought on the complex issue of Palestine's liberation. In the course of this video, we've explored a thought-provoking perspective on Palestine's liberation. We delved into the historical context of Palestine and the Caliphate, unearthing the deep-rooted connections. We also considered the arguments championing the Caliphate's role in the liberation movement. The intertwined history, coupled with the potential influence of the Caliphate, paints a compelling picture. Whether or not you agree with this perspective, it's clear that the question of Palestine's liberation is a complex one that requires thoughtful consideration and dialogue.